The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, has called on northern political interests harboring hopes of running for president in 2027 to exercise patience till 2031, when President Bola Tinubu would have completed his second term. Senator Akume directed his message particularly to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, saying if God wants him to be president, he can win an election at the age of 90. The SGF tried to make the point that it would still be the turn of the South to produce a president in 2027. He argued that President Tinubu has not lost the goodwill of Nigerians as a result of the tax reform bills and other economic decisions taken within the last 17 months of his administration, and expressed optimism that the president would run Nigeria for 8 years. Professor Tukur Mohammed is National Publicity Secretary of Arewa Consultative Forum. He joins us now to share his thoughts on that, as well as Nigeria's rotational presidency and the need to strike a balance. Good day, and thank you for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you so very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Let's begin by hearing your thoughts on this notion presented by the SGF, who has said that anyone who wants to vie for the presidency should wait until 2031, especially if the person is from the northern part of the country.
Well, let me begin by saying that the SGF is a politician, a very experienced politician, His Excellency George Akume. He is also the secretary to the federal government of Nigeria, headed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In this regard, both as a citizen of Nigeria, as a seasoned politician, and in the employment of the government, his remarks are in order. This is a political atmosphere. It's all right. But I will react by telling him, one, the Constitution does not say that a president or governor and so on is elected for 8 years. He's elected for 4 years. Of course, renewable. I mean, I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves by taking first and second terms together, that it's compulsory and so on. But having said that, it's within his rights, and those who oppose him and don't think otherwise is also within their rights. So in general, it's to be expected that the secretary to the federal government would say so. And I will not condemn him for that. It's his personal opinion. Ultimately, it's up to the electorate to decide who they want to elect for 4 years, or if it is to be renewed for another 4 years. And of course, it's up to the political parties themselves to decide where they're going to pick their candidate from. Yes, we talk about rotational, a rotational arrangement whereby the presidency is rotated between the North and the South and so on. These are ad hoc arrangements. They are not law, it's convention. So I would say it's all right. It's in order to make, to advance such positions, but it's nothing to worry about. The SGF has stated his position. It's a personal opinion. He's not stating a matter of law and so on. So I don't see much argument about what he said.
Now, Atiku Abubakar says that by 2017, the South would have had 17 years of leadership. He then goes on to ask where then does true equity and fairness reside. So is there a need maybe to review this zoning formula, or perhaps even abandon it altogether?
Let me remind you that the zoning formula is not a constitutional provision. Again, like the secretary to the federal government, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was expressing his general opinion on a convention. It's a tradition. It's not in the Constitution. So both of them, in my opinion, have a right to say what they wanted to say. It's within their constitutional provision as citizens of this country to air their views in the way they want, but we shouldn't take it as a rule of law. It's not cut and dry that this must happen or must not. So let's get our perspectives right. Let's get our priorities. When people make their opinions, we reserve the right to disagree in ways that the Constitution allows. That is by voting people in or out of power. So I have no position, I have no problems with what former Vice President Atiku said, in as much as I have no problems with what the Secretary to the federal government says. In short, both of them are expressing opinions, personal opinions. It's up to the electorate at the appropriate time to decide what to do. Like I said, there is nothing written in the Constitution that leadership position must go geographical, north, south, north, and so on and so forth. It's an ad hoc arrangement. It has its own advantage, and it has, of course, disadvantages, like everything else in life. So it's all right. It's political. As they say in Cuba, pura politica. It's all politics. Let's take it at that.
Indeed, you have indeed said that it is too early. You were quoted to have said that it is too early to begin to talk about 2027 politics, that we have many economic issues that need to be tackled right now. But I'm wondering, you also alluded to the fact that it is not a constitutional provision. These are zoning, because it's a kind of a gentleman agreement. But isn't it indicative of the fact that we are more divided than united, the fact that we elect our leaders based on their ethnicity and not based on competence?
On the surface, yes, but I think there is a lot more that goes into the decision of who to vote and who not to vote. There is a lot more than ethnicity, there is a lot more than religion, and there is a lot more than locality, where the person is from. What we're dealing with in the Nigerian context is a highly complex situation brought about by our diversity. The diversity is not necessarily a disadvantage. In fact, you could say it's an advantage. Yes, that is what the practice is, but of course, at the end of the day, if we are to go with the ideals of democracy and representative government, the idea is to have the best persons who will deliver the best. And often enough, when you focus on where they are coming from, what they are rather than who they are, you miss the ball. Yes, I was quoted as saying that it's too early. I still maintain, in my opinion, that when we start talking of elections that are coming in 3 years, in 8 years again, we are missing the beauty of democracy. It's not when someone should stand an election and for how long. It's what are they able to do. In the context of the present time, my position is that when we start talking of 2027, 2031, we are taking our eyes off the ball. In the meantime, as you have alluded to, we have problems, foremost economic. And I will say in this part of the country, insecurity. We have problems with provision of education, health services, infrastructure, financial inclusion, skills acquisition. I mean, for me personally, these are more important at the end of the day than who should stand for election, where they are coming from, and what they profess. My ideal, I will prefer to see a situation where we hold people accountable, not just the presidency, all over all electoral officials, be they in the National Assembly, state assemblies, local governments, governors. I think in this country we are not holding people enough to accountability, so that when we start talking of when they should start election again or not, our eyes are taken off the ball. And I think we are better off as a country if we focus, okay, right, we have given you our mandate for the next 4 years. What are you going to deliver? Or it's been about 2 years since we elected you for a 4-year term. So far, so good. What have we got so far? But when we are halfway through, not even nearly halfway, not halfway yet, And then we are talking of standing election again. I think we are putting the cart before the horse. To me, you are letting people get away with blue murder so that they get your eyes to focus on something so far away. What of the present? We are dealing with people who are alive, people who are going through difficulties, people who are going through challenges, and you are taking their eyes into some dream, some utopia of whether people should contest election or not. My question is, for now, what is our take? How far have we come? What has been the result? What has been the dividend for us for the choice we made 2.5 years ago? So, in my opinion, this is what should happen. Like I said, I personally think, talking about 2027 or 2031 for that matter, it's too early. It's too early. My objective is not what happened in 2027. I don't know if I will be alive, if you will be alive, or 2031. We don't know. For the meantime, what happens to our life? This is the most critical at any point. Is we have elected X and Y, and so far, how have they done? How have they met our aspirations? How disappointed or how happy we are with them? Is there anything they should do better? Is there anything they should strengthen? Are there any policies they should abandon? I think these are the foundations on which we should build our opinion on 2027 or 2031.
Well said, Professor.
Even as I concede,
you've already summarized
the right
that the power to elect the next leaders lie with the people, and so we'll hope that the right thing is done, especially in putting the right people in the position of power. Thank you so much, Professor Tukur Mohammed Baba, National Publicity Secretary of Arewa Consultative Forum.